All right, today's program brought to you in part by PuroClean's Veterans Initiative, PuroVet. Veterans, if you're ready to be your own boss, well, you can join a trusted brand and serve your community in a brand new way. This is for veterans, 855-PuroVet. And PuroVet.com, you can find out more right now and see if you're a good fit. We want to help out veterans whenever we can. There you have it on your screen, PuroVet.com and 855-PuroVet. Okay, this has been a big story for the last few days, of course. The Democrats have fled Texas because Texas is on the verge of doing redistricting for its congressional districts. Doesn't usually happen in the middle of the decade, but it's happening because they say there have been many demographic changes, and they say we're getting gamed by Democrats all over the country, which is true. If you go to California, just 17% of the congressional seats have Republicans in them, even though California voters, more than 40% of people vote Republican. In Illinois, it's worse, which is where they fled to, ironically. The Democrats fled to Chicago, even though J.B. Pritzker and company did redistricting in 22, which left the state with just 15% of its congressional delegation Republican, in a state that votes 45% Republican. They should have 3 times as many Republicans in Congress, and yet they're complaining. Joining me from the great state of Texas, Representative Briscoe Cain. He's part of the Texas House. He's for District 128. Briscoe, thank you for being here.
Howdy and good morning, Steve.
Good morning. Good-looking tie, by the way. You look good today. Briscoe, he's up early in Texas. It's kind of hard on the kids down there. Look, the Democrats run off to Illinois. This is the most ironic thing of all. They go to the most gerrymandered state in America, and it is. I've looked. California second. Illinois, just 15% of the congressional seats are occupied by Republicans, and they're complaining that you're doing something in Texas that's purely political. Of course, it's political. That's the way it works. In fact, it's so political that the governor of Massachusetts has threatened to do the same thing in her state, except the one thing she forgot about. Every member of Congress in Massachusetts is already a Democrat. What are your thoughts? Where'd your friends go? Why'd they run away?
Yeah, bingo. Well, by the way, they've gone to Illinois, right? Chicago, Boston, and New York, all states known for being, really ethical and, right?
Yeah,
amazing
really
thing
ethical.
that they went there. But, yeah, they're claiming that this is about protecting democracy, but I'd say it's really about subverting democracy in order to cling to power they did not earn at the ballot box, right? That's what this really is all about. They're not doing this on principle. It's just a cheap political stunt that ultimately history shows they lose in the end.
Yeah, they're going to lose. Look, here's the question. I think that there was maybe an arrest warrant. Bring this up to the latest what you know, but I think that Governor Abbott targeted at least one Democrat, the Pied Piper, the one that let him out of town, the one that was the head of this whole circus. Is that true?
Yeah.
Are they looking to have this person arrested?
I'll give you an update. So beginning on Monday at 3 p.m. when the gavel fell and we were shown not having a quorum, the motion was made to call the House. It means we locked the doors. We're all stuck there. And then civil arrest warrants were issued by the Speaker. Then the governor requested the Department of Public Safety, along with the Texas Rangers, begin to assist in locating the Democrats. Very next day, we had about 3 more Democrats. Yesterday, we had 6. We actually just need 6 more. So if many, guys, maybe folks out in Florida, Georgia, a couple of rednecks over there, if they want to help us out, we just need 6 to come back to Texas so we can complete the MAGA agenda.
The redneck roundup in the state of Florida. Let's get them. Look, here's the thing. My understanding in the Texas Constitution, I was talking to Lieutenant Colonel Alan West here on Monday of this week. He said in the Texas Constitution, if they're not there to do their job, they can be legally removed by the governor. Is he willing to do that? And here's the other question. If your speaker was so willing to issue these arrest warrants or whatever, why wasn't that same speaker willing to just call a quorum when he had it earlier in the week?
Yeah, well, I agree with you on a few fronts, and we'll clarify. So the governor has the ability to declare that seat vacant. The rest of that, though, then would be left up to the courts. Of course, they're going to be struggling with this question whether they call this a legitimate practice, but of course it's not. It truly is obstruction just because you're able to do it. Think about how long you could. I mean, can they break quorum just forever and never allow the legislative process to work? No, of course not. So there is some limit, and right now they're not showing an intent to return. And he's, of course, targeting Representative Gene Wu. That's who's been sued, and he's the chairman of the Democratic caucus. As far as could we have done something earlier? Yes, absolutely. Sadly, this is a 150-member body, and just last week I was just one of 14 to vote against adjourning for several days when we had them there at that time, and we've been warning that they were threatening to break quorum. We could have stopped it then, but we didn't.
And
Yet,
we know
here we are
that
now.
they've done it before. They did this 4 years ago when you had an election integrity bill in front of the
that was pretty personal.
legislature.
That was actually my bill. I was standing there at the front microphone as they
Right.
began to take their keys from their desk and walk out. I'll always remember it. And sadly, nothing really happened then.
Well,
Small
one thing
slap on
did
the
happen.
wrist.
That bill passed eventually, did it not?
It passed, but not as strong as it was when they left. They sadly compromised with them a little bit to get them to come back. We then changed the rules, $500 automatic fines a day, other things like that to make it even more extreme. I think that's why some have come back. The rest plan to fight it out in courts. But one thing's for certain, there's no reason to negotiate with them. We have 88 Republicans now, and we've got Trump and Abbott and everybody, you guys, behind our backs.
Well, let me ask you this, Briscoe. I'm not a lawyer. I don't even want to be one. I have too much self-respect for that. But let me ask you this. 88 Republicans. The body is 150. If the governor just says these seats are temporarily vacant, wouldn't he reduce the quorum number down to whatever, reduce it from 100, from 75 or whatever a quorum has to be or whatever it needs? But you would reduce the number by reducing the actual number of people in occupied seats. Isn't that just the math of it?
It's a great idea. Yeah, it'd be the 2/3 of elected. So, but I'm not sure it'd work, but I like where you're headed. I mean, it's this outside the box thinking. It kind of reminds me of President Trump. You come up with an idea and go for it. Whether you win or not, we want fighters, not excuses. And so I'm glad the state of Texas is doing that. And we'll keep pushing and making it more uncomfortable.
This is going to pass. The redistricting is going to happen. It's inevitable. I mean, you've got time. You have to give the districts time enough to be ready for the midterms, but you've got until next year to get that sorted out. And so it's going to happen.
Plus, we have the courts. So we know it's going to be litigated, and I think that's really why they're dragging it out. They're dragging it out hoping that then the court challenges end up preventing it from taking effect. And so that's kind of their idea. Plus also just the theater and a chance to fundraise, which leads them to another problem because they may have committed bribery.
Oh, well, that's always fun.
You know, a thing of value in exchange for an official act, right? Or a vote by not showing up for quorum, and they're being offered funds for these things in exchange for it. And so they're being investigated for that as well. And I'd expect a grand jury to convene soon enough. Yeah,
so here's the thing. I don't have it right. I had it outlined, but I got this little thing called the Constitution. It sits on my desk. Of course, it's political, and it gives to the states the ability to be political and do as they say. You can go ahead and redistrict any way you want. That's what this little document says in my hand. That's the takeaway. Briscoe, I really appreciate you getting up. Might have you back. I know it's a little tough on you, but I think you were great. Love to have you back. This is an important topic for you and for the country, isn't it? 20 seconds for the last word, real quick.
Steve. No, it matters. Guys, the focus is on America, and I believe we can do it. November isn't too far away, but get your friends out and go vote.
Briscoe Cain, thank you very much from the great state of Texas. This is the Steve Gruber Show.